Hi again then guys, and so we've got another special projects replica style build for you today, and this time it's a replica of a relatively newly debuted car. It's the BMW M4 GTS. I've already of course done a tune to replicate the M3 GTS. This car is superior to that model of course, and I'm actually really pleased with how accurate this car turned out to be. The colour isn't necessarily exactly the same, because I'm not aware if we can actually get the colour that's close enough to the real GTS, because it's got kind of a metallic grey, but at the same time kind of a matte look to it. Likewise, the rims, of course, aren't exactly accurate, because they're just not on the game. But overall, it has the look of the GTS, and I've got the specs spot on to the real car. It's running the exact power, the exact weight, and even the exact gear ratios of the real car. So first of all, of course, I'll show you how to get the visual style of the car, then of course the mechanical setup, and finally take it out to the Nuremberg ring to see what it can do. Now for the visual look of this particular replica, you want the Type A body kit, which primarily adds this extra little chin splitter area at the front. The Type B doesn't really look that much like the GTS. As far as the wing, you want the custom rear wing, and the GTS has quite a minimal rear wing. It's not some big crazy racing style wing. So I've gone for the Type F wing support, which is the silver ones. Then we've gone for the Type H wing itself, which is a flat-topped small type wing, and then we've gone for the Type J winglets on the end. As far as width, we've gone for +10, and for height, -2, which is as low as possible, and it actually looks very similar to the real GTS's wing. For the rims, we've gone for inch up 1, and for the particular rims, we've gone for these OZ 40 rims, or Oz 40 I should say. I haven't fitted any additional meters, but obviously that's down to personal preference. Now as far as the colour of the car, the paint colour itself is a metallic colour, and it's called Meteorite Silver, and it actually comes from the Aston Martin DB9. It's the closest that I could find to the actual colour of the M4 GTS, so again, just go for whichever one you can find or whichever you think is the closest to the actual car. For the rim colour, we've gone for orange of course, because the car is accented with orange inside and out, but the particular orange that we have gone for is Chrome Orange Metallic. I can't recall at the moment what car that comes from, so I'll put that down in the description below or in the comments. Same colour for the brakes, and for the rear wing we've actually gone for a metallic colour, and I've gone for metallic brown for the rear wing. That may seem to be a strange choice, but basically the reason why I've done that is so that it has a kind of carbon fibre look to it, because the standard wing doesn't really stand out enough as being carbon fibre, and you can get the metallic brown from the Tesla Model S. So that's it for the visual look of the car overall, and I would say it actually looks really accurate to the M4 GTS, but of course that's just me. So now of course we'll go over to the mechanical garage for the tune setup. So for the mechanical setup on this particular model, this is of course a street-based replica, so I've opted for sport soft tyres, but obviously just go for whichever ones suit you best. For the suspension, we've got the ride height on 110 front and rear. That may sound a little bit high, but if you actually look at the M4 GTS, it's not slammed at all. It has a realistic ride height, and I tried to replicate that on the game. Springs we've got on 625 and 775, dampers and anti-roll to 4, very tiny amount of camber on 0.5, neutral toe. For the gearbox, you will need to do a minor gearbox flip on this model to actually get the exact same gearing which this has as the real car. So what you want to do is bring up your auto setting to 273, then come down to your final drive and set it on 3.3, then come back up to your auto setting, click it down and up again to 273. Then you'll be able to achieve these individual gears, which, as I said, are exactly the same as the real car, of 4806, 2593, 1701, 1277, 1000, 844, and 671. And then you want to bring your final drive up to the real final drive of the M4 GTS of 3.462. For the diff, we've got the lowest initial torque, acceleration at the maximum, and a braking sensitivity of 10. As far as the power, this one does have an oil change, so you need to bear that in mind. So as far as the power, we've gone for the semi-race exhaust, and the reason why I've gone for that is primarily for the look, and also because it makes it sound the best. We've got the Sports Cat, and then reduce the power down to 493 horsepower, which is the exact power of the real car. We are, of course, running the wings, so we've got the downforce as high as possible. No weight loss package on this one, and you want to increase the weight of the car by 13 kilos to bring us up to the exact weight of 1,510 kilos of the real M4 GTS. And thankfully, it's actually all, or as well, PP relevant at 530, which is pretty cool. So now let's finally take it out to the track to see what it can do. Overall, I'm extremely happy with this replica. It's about as close as we can get mechanically to an actual M4 GTS on the game. It's running the exact weight, the exact power, the exact gear ratios. So you can't really get much closer than this. Obviously, its performance isn't exactly correct. Top speed, for instance, on the game is always out of proportion to the real car. But the handling is what this car's all about, really. It's a track machine, first and foremost. And I have to say, it's a brilliant track car. The handling is fantastic, even with very minimal camber. The brakes are very good. Technically, the brakes are a little bit better than they should be, but yeah, who's complaining? The car looks, again, about as close as we can get to the GTS. I'm sure there are people who would use different colours or different rims or whatever, but overall, it's a very, very close replica to the GTS, and for those of you who decide to use this replica, of course, I hope you find it fun, and potentially competitive if you decide to use it for racing. So, if you'd like more replica tunes and custom tunes like this as soon as they come out, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.